Brothers and sisters, to increase your iman, read the miracle, recite the Qur'an. Recite it every day and do read it loud. The verses of Qur'an are all Muslims' pride. This miracle was revealed over a long time span, sent from Allah to an angel, then to a man. That man was Muhammad, the best of creation.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبيه ومصطفاه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. All praise be to Allah alone. We all praise Him and we seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is the truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, no one can show him guidance. Brothers and sisters, welcome to another new edition of your program, Correct Recitation, after a long vacation, after Ramadan and the Eid vacation. Happy Eid to all of you, of course, and may Allah accept from all of us the best of our deeds, pardon us and forgive us our sins. Ameen. Today, inshallah, we will spend some time with the last two verses of Surat Al-Mummtahinah, 11, 12 and 13. And inshallah, we'll do our best to study the first four verses of the following Madani Surah, which is Surat As-Saf, the rank or the row, from 1 to 4. But in order to do that, we'll begin with our normal routine, listening to the beautiful recitation by Sheikh Ismail. Thereafter, we welcome our studio guests. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Ismail, and all of you brothers. Thank you so much for joining us, and happy Eid to all of you. Sheikh Ismail, please.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها النبي إذا جاءك المؤمنات يبايعنك على ألا يشركن بالله شيئا ولا يسرقن ولا يزنين ولا يقتلن أولادهن ولا يأتين ببهتان يفترينه بين أيديهن وأرجلهن ولا يعصينك في معروف فبايعهن واستغفر لهن الله إن الله غفور رحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتولوا قوما غضب الله عليهم قد يئسوا من الآخرة كما يئس الكفار من أصحاب القبور بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لم تقولون ما لا تفعلون كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعلون إن الله يحب الذين يقاتلون في سبيله صفا كأنهم بنيان مرصوص.
Let's study some words in our word bank, inshallah. The first word is in ayah number 12, which is يُبَايِعْنَكَ. If you have the Medina Mus'haf, page 551, the first line right in the middle. يا أيها النبي إذا جاءك المؤمنات يبايعنك. And يبايعنك because it is plural and feminine. If it was masculine, then it would be like إذا جاءك المؤمنون, masculine. يبايعونك. But because it is feminine, يبايعنك. We have to pay attention to these differences. يبايعنك is taken from the word bay'ah. And the bay'ah is the pledge of allegiance. The pledge of allegiance. So, O Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever the believing women come to give you the pledge of allegiance, to give you the bay'ah. The next word is buhtan. Among the articles of the pledge of allegiance is not to commit any buhtan. Al-buhtan literally means a slander or calumny. We heard in the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said about the ghiba is to mention somebody in his absence with what he dislikes. So somebody said, Ya Rasulullah, what if I only say the truth? Like if I say this person is fat. And he is fat. Or this person is describing him with any ill trait. So the Prophet ﷺ said, if you only say what's in him, this is backbiting. But if you say something which is not in him, فَقَدِ بَهَتَّ. That is a buhtan, it's a slander. You made up a lie. Al-buhtan is a great lie. Okay. And we will understand its meaning in that context. The next vocabulary is the word يَفْتَرِينَهُ. Again with the noon of the niswa because it is plural and feminine. يَفْتَرِينَهُ from al-firya, which is forgery. So yaftari is to forge. Yaftarinahu, that these women would forge. So they came to give the pledge of allegiance to avoid these evil traits and evil activities amongst them and not to commit iftara or forge, whatever we'll be talking about inshaAllah in a little bit. In the last verse and in the last line in this chapter in Surat Al-Mummtahinah, قَدْ يَئِسُوا, the word يَئِسُوا from يَأْس. Al-Ya's is equivalent to qunut, which is the opposite of having hope or hoping. So Al-Ya's is to despair, or يَئِسُوا in the ayah, they have been in despair. They had been in despair. In the Qur'an, we are forbidden against having ya's or qunut, especially from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله. Lose not hope, despair not in Allah's mercy. But here is describing the trait of evil people who have been in despair about what? We will learn inshallah, but this is just the literal meaning. At-tasbih, the first word in Surah As-Saff, sabbaha in the past tense, glorified and exalted, which is to maintain pure from any perfection and to exalt Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because He is the purest, He is the most perfect, He is the completest. He is free from any perfection. So this is what every living creature in the heaven or in the earth is being glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with saying سَبَّحَ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ, everything in the heavens and in and on the earth. وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ, that is the same ayah in the beginning of Surah Al-Hashr. The same text. Ayah number 1 of Surah Al-Hashr. سَبَّحَ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. And we did explain this ayah in Surah Al-Hashr in details. Okay. In ayah number 3, كَبُرَ مَقَةً. Al-maqt is hatred, is to hate something disgusting. So maqatan is hatred or hateful. Kabura maqatan, that's even worse, which is most hateful, most hated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do the following evil practice. The last vocabulary is the word zaghu from az-zayg, or deviated from deviation. Without any further ado, now let's explain first of all the last two ayat of Surat Al-Mummtahinah. يا أيها النبي إذا جاءك المؤمنات يبايعنك على ألا يشركن بالله شيئا ولا يسرقن ولا يزنين. This is Ayatul Bay'ah, but which Bay'ah? I want you to flip the page and go back to page number 550, and you will realize that in ayah number 10 and 11 we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has addressed the believers with the following: يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا جاءكم المؤمنات مهاجرات فامتحنوهن. And that's why this surah is known as Surat Al-Mummtahinah in the passive. The woman to be tested. The muhajirah, a woman who comes from Mecca or from Darul Kufr to Darul Islam to Al-Madinah, claiming that she accepted Islam, so test her to find out whether she is true in belief and faith or not. This set, or these two ayat, 10 and 11, were revealed around the 6th year after Hijrah, right after the Treaty of Al-Hudaybiyah, which amongst its articles that if any person from Mecca wanted to accept Islam and go to Al-Madinah, Muhammad and the believers should render them back to Mecca. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exempt women. This is possible for men. They can find out their way, and we knew what happened. But women, no. If a woman accepted Islam, the Muslim Ummah should be protective of this woman and should provide her shelter and provision and everything. And they even separate her from a disbelieving husband. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا جاءكم المؤمنات مهاجرات فامتحنوهن. Verses, when we flip the page and we'll go to page number 551 and ayah number 12 and 13, the last two ayat of Surah Al-Mummtahinah, we find in ayah number 12, particularly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhan nabi, he's addressing the Prophet. إِذَا جَاءَكَ الْمُؤْمِنَاتُ, when the believing women come to you. But this time they are not coming as muhajirat, because this incident happened after the conquest of Mecca, and it was in Mecca around the Kaaba. The Prophet ﷺ have already conquered Mecca and destroyed the idols, and people started coming in groups. Men in groups, women in groups, to give the Prophet ﷺ al-bay'ah, or the pledge of allegiance. The Prophet ﷺ was sitting on top of as-Safa. You all know as-Safa and al-Marwa. So he could see the Kaaba. And Umar al-Khattab was sitting downhill. And women came in order to give the Prophet ﷺ the bay'ah, the pledge of allegiance. They wanted to shake hands with him same way like men. Because during the bay'ah with men, the Prophet ﷺ would shake hands with them, or at least with their leaders. But the Prophet ﷺ pulled back his hand and said, لا أصافح النساء, I do not shake hands with women. And the hadith says, ما مست يده صلى الله عليه وسلم يد امرأة قط. The Prophet ﷺ never touched the hand of a woman who is not lawful for him, who is not his wife or one of his maharim, an auntie, maternal, paternal, and so on, a daughter. But a woman who's a cousin or one of the wives of the companions, no way that the Prophet ﷺ would shake hands with her and say, how are you, sister, how is everything? None of the above. I see some brothers, the sister-in-law would shake hands with the brother-in-law, sometimes even give hugs and kisses because she is my sister. Now this is haram. This is not illegal. This is prohibited in Islam. إِنِّي لَا أُصَافِحُ النِّسَاءِ, I do not shake hands with women. Which women? Women who are not lawful for him. They are not his wives, nor the maharim. So the Prophet ﷺ gave them the verbal bay'ah, accepted it from them, and they accepted the treaty or the articles of this bay'ah. The hadith is also narrated by Ubadah ibn Samit, may Allah be pleased with him, pertaining the bay'ah of men, but it is still known as bay'atun nisa, because it contains the same articles of the pledge of women. What does it say? Number one, على ألا يشركنا بالله شيئا, not to commit shirk, not to take partners to Allah in worship. Done with it. ولا يسرقنا, not to steal. ولا يزنين, and not to commit adultery. ولا يقتلن أولادهن, would anyone ever kill his own child? Yeah? These guys used to bury their own daughters alive, and they were justifying that by saying that they're girls. If they grow up and they get captured by the enemies, they will be enslaved. We'd rather kill them right now so that they won't be tortured or in pain or cause a humiliation for us in the future. Of course, this is not justified. This is all the deception of a shaitan. this evil tradition in the past, which was known as wa'dul banat, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ, and Islam came to eliminate this completely, and that's why it's an article in this bay'ah. And guess what? Today, nowadays, in the modern ages, in the most civilized societies in North America and in Europe, there is wa'dul banat. Abortion is nothing but wa'dul banat. And also the banin, burying or getting rid of the embryo. After a certain period in the womb of the mother, she doesn't want him, she gets rid of him. Why? Because she wants to be free. They don't want to have any commitment. A boyfriend and a girlfriend are having fun. They don't want anything to connect them. So abortion is likewise. It's a ruh. It's a soul. وَلَا يَأْتِينَ بِبُهْتَانٍ يَفْتَرِينَهُ بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِنَّ وَأَرْجُلِهِنَّ. This is a metaphor that explains in a beautiful fashion the evil tradition before Islam. When a woman who's already married would commit adultery with somebody else, what if she conceives? What if she gets pregnant? She has to attribute or ascribe the baby to somebody. So she would give him the name of her husband. And the husband will be foolish. He doesn't know that this is not his child. She allowed somebody else to embrace her sexually. She had him out of illegal sexual relationship or fornication, out of wedlock. وَلَا يَأْتِينَ بِبُهْتَانٍ يَفْتَرِينَهُ بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِنَّ وَأَرْجُلِهِنَّ وَلَا يَعْصِينَكَ فِي مَعْرُوفٍ. And not to disobey you pertaining any command which is righteous. We said before in Surah Al-A'raf, it is mentioned in the Torah and in the Gospel that among the traits of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is يَأْمُرُهُمْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَاهُمْ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ يُحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ وَيَضَعُ عَنْهُمْ إِصْرَهُمْ, etc. So Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam commands only which is good and righteous, and he forbids only which is evil and wicked. So whatever the Prophet ﷺ orders you women, you should comply. He ordered you not to pluck your eyebrows, done. Not to make your hair like a hairstyle like a hump of a camel, done. To wear a proper hijab, done. Not to be alone with a man who's not your husband or your mahram, done. Not to travel a travel distance without a mahram or a husband, done. وَلَا يَعْصِينَكَ فِي مَعْرُوفٍ. The Mufassirin said this ayah was pertaining a particular practice in Jahiliyyah, which was, the Prophet ﷺ said, in forbidding this practice as it is collected by Al-Bukhari Muslim, لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ لَطَمَ الْخُدُودِ. لَطَمَ الْخُدُودِ, the evil practice of beating their face or cheeks. Whenever some evil happened to them, particularly a beloved person would die, they start beating their faces, their cheeks, and until they get red, and they pick up dirt and they put it on top of their heads. لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ لَطَمَ الْخُدُودِ وَشَقَّ الْجُيُوبِ. And they used to tear their shirts and their clothes, thinking this is a proper way to mourn the death of their beloved ones. وَدَعَى بِدَعْوَى الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ. And they utter the words of ignorance, such as, he was my provider, he was everything for me, what can I do after you? There is no life after you. All of that has been forbidden. And al-ma'ruf, which the Prophet ﷺ commanded in this case, is to be patient. And to say, إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَجْعُونَ لِلَّهِ مَا أَخَذْ وَلِلَّهِ مَا أَعْطَى. And to say, اللهم أجرني في مصيبتي واخلف لي خيرا منها. So if they agree to the terms of this bay'ah, then فَبَايَعْهُنَّ, accept their bay'ah. وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُنَّ اللَّهِ, and ask Allah for forgiveness for them, for whatever sins had been committed in the past. إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Because indeed Allah is the oft forgiving, the most merciful. When Amr ibn al-As radiyallahu anhu came to accept Islam, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wanted to accept the pledge of allegiance from him. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam took the initiative and he stretched out his hand to Amr. But Amr pulled back his hand. He said, no, not before you promise me that Allah will forgive me all my sins. I'm a big time sinner. I've committed a lot of sins. At that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam smiled and said, Ya Amr, don't you know that Islam, by accepting Islam, wipes away, remits and erases all the sins which were committed before? Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. Last verse of Surat Al-Mummtahinah. لا تتولوا قوما غضب الله عليهم. This ayah contains a lot of benefits. Number one, if you flip the page and go back to page 549, the beginning of Surat Al-Mummtahinah, which is a Madani surah. What does it say? يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا عدوي وعدوكم أولياء. Then the ayah. We studied that in details. We give examples to our daily lives. Don't you take my enemies and your enemies as protectors. How can you take the one who's trying to chase you, to kill you, to put you in prison, to kick you out of your house, to make you depart your deen, to deviate you? How can you take him as a protector, as an advisor, as a helper, or as a friend? That's not possible. By the end, the final confirmation, all you who believe, don't you take as awliya. Al-walayah is the strongest bond and the tightest relationship. Allahu waliyyu alladhina amanu. Allah is the protector for the believers. As a shaitan is a wali for the disbelievers. Not only that, وَالْمُنَافِقُونَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتُ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. Yeah, the hypocrites, they love each other, they protect each other, they help each other. It's very obvious. And also, وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتُ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. This is how it should be. The believing men and women should be protectors and supporters of one another. Whether he's in Burma, is in Syria, in Pakistan, he's a mu'min, I'm his protector. And he's my protector. I worry about him. I'm bothered if anything that upsets him. I rush to help him and assist him. But don't you take those whom Allah is angry with them, those whom Allah has cursed in the Qur'an, in the Gospel, and in the Torah. He has cursed them. In the Qur'an, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لُعِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ عَلَى لِسَانِ دَاوُودَ وَعِيسَى بِنِ مَرْيَمَ ذَلِكَ بِمَا عَصَوْا وَكَانُوا يَعْتَدُونَ. Allah cursed Bani Israel, or some of them, الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْهُمْ. The disbelievers of Bani Israel have been accursed by whom? By Allah. On the tongue of whom? Dawood, Prophet David, one of their prophets. Isa, Jesus, the son of Mary, have cursed them. And even Musa alayhi salam, فَافْرُقْ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَ الْقَوْمِ الْفَاسِقِينَ, Surah Al-Ma'idah. He called them fasiqeen, rebellious. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, don't you take these guys whom Allah has cursed and the prophets have cursed, don't you take them as awliya. قَوْمًا غَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. There is a beautiful likening, tashbih. In Arabic balagha or eloquency, there is a subject called tashbih. To give an example to something which may be vague to something very obvious and known. So there is mushabbah, wa mushabbahun bihi, wa wajhu shabah. So the likened example is those whom Allah have accursed or cursed. Okay, likened to what? Likened to those who are dead and in the graves, and the disbelievers believe that there is no way that they will be resurrected again. Because the disbelievers, they don't believe in the hereafter. They don't believe in resurrection. So the first example, those group of Bani Israel or the Yahud lost every hope in obtaining any of Allah's mercy on the Day of Judgment. They know that they will not find the fragrance of paradise. They will not enter heaven. Why? Because they knew that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the true last messenger, and they belied him. They knew that Allah is one, and they neglected this fact, and they followed their woman's desire. Accordingly, they know for sure that they will not enter heaven. Ya'isu! They have been in despair. About what? About enter heaven. Same way as the disbelievers are in despair that those who have died before will be resurrected afterward. This is wajhu shabah, or the similitude between the two cases. We all remember how Safiyyah, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, whose father was a Jewish rabbi and a Jewish leader, and her uncle too, she overheard them talking to each other. When the uncle said to the father, to Huyay ibn Akhtab, that is the last messenger, I recognize him, so what are you going to do about it? He said, I'm going to be his enemy all the way until I die. So they recognize Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the ultimate truth and as the last messenger, but they still oppose them and disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why يَئِسُوا مِنَ الْآخِرَةِ. They have been in despair from entering paradise. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teach us what we don't know and help us to understand His deen better and follow it properly, By that, we come to the end of this segment, inshallah Azza Jal. In the new episode next time, we'll begin by explaining the beautiful ayat of Surah Al-Saf. But now let's take a short break, and after the break, inshallah, we'll get to listen to your beautiful recitation. So stay tuned.
From Allah to an angel, then to a man. That man was Muhammad, the best of creation.
Whatever you do, whatever you got, it's a gift from Allah. Thank Him and always say Alhamdulillah all the way. Alhamdulillah, I always say, every time and every day. Alhamdulillah is a lovely word, it keeps me safe and on my way. Whatever you do, whatever you got, it's a gift from Allah. Thank Him and always say Alhamdulillah all the way. With my happiness, my grandpa says Alhamdulillah for this lovely day. When my sister plays, my grandma says Alhamdulillah, it's a lovely day. Whatever you do, whatever you got, it's a gift from Allah. Thank Him and always say Alhamdulillah all the way. Alhamdulillah for everything. Don't forget to say Alhamdulillah.
ربنا ولا تحملنا اللهم ربنا عز جارك وجل ثناؤك وتقدست أسماؤك اللهم لا يرد أمرك
To an angel then to man. That man was Muhammad, the best of creation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. In this segment, inshallah, we'll be more than happy to start practicing together at least the last two ayat of Surat Al-Mummtahinah. We have also the first 4 verses of Surat As-Saf. In order to do that, our phone numbers, beginning with area code 002-0238-555-248 or 249. I'm glad I still remember the numbers though. It's been a long while. And email address is tajweed@huda.tv, and the Facebook account is, our page is msalah official. Barakallahu feekum. And without any further ado, we'll begin with our local studio guest, Dino, from ayah number 12, please, of Surat Al-Mummtahinah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها النبي إذا جاءك المؤمنات يبايعنك على أن لا يشركن بالله شيئا ولا يسرقن ولا يزنين ولا يقتلن أولادهن ولا يأتين ببهتان يفترينه بين أيديهن وأرجلهن ولا يعصينك في معروف فبايعهن واستغفر لهن الله إن الله غفور رحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتولوا قوما غضب الله عليهم قد يئسوا من الآخرة كما يئس الكفار من أصحاب القبور.
حسبك. We have our first caller tonight. Haytham, assalamu alaikum, Haytham.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Haytham?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
Great. Go ahead and read the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Mummtahinah, 12 and 13.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها النبي إذا جاءك المؤمنات يبايعنك على أن لا يشركن بالله شيئا ولا يسرقن ولا يزنين ولا يقتلن أولادهن ولا يأتين ببهتان يفترينه بين أيديهن وأرجلهن ولا يعصينك في معروف فبايعهن واستغفر لهن الله إن الله غفور رحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتولوا قوما غضب الله عليهم قد يئسوا من الآخرة كما يئس الكفار من أصحاب القبور.
حسبك يا هيثم. بارك الله فيك. I would like to bring to your attention, Haytham and everybody else, the benefit of having this nahi or la on top of a word in the Qur'an. Look at the word fi ma'roof, the last, the third line from the bottom. Okay, it's clear on the camera. There is the 2 letters la, which means no, don't you stop here. Don't you stop means, it doesn't mean that don't you stop at all, but it means don't you stop and end your recitation or have a long pause, because the meaning will be either incomplete or it will provide a different meaning than the intended one. It could be entirely the opposite. For instance, in this ayah, Allah began by saying, "Oh, you Prophet Muhammad, whenever the believing women come to you to give you the bay'ah to do 1, 2, 3, 4, And amongst these articles or the terms of the treaty, وَلَا يَعْصِينَكَ فِي مَعْرُوفٍ. Okay, then what's next? You shouldn't stop there. What's next is, then you should accept their bay'ah. So if you run out of breath, and you say, after you recited all the articles, and you say, وَلَا يَعْصِينَكَ فِي مَعْرُوفٍ, and that was the last breath you have, okay, you stopped. But you have to bring some words from the back, which will provide a complete meaning, then you resume reading. So what Haytham did, he said, فِي مَعْرُوفٍ فَبَايَعٌ. فِي مَعْرُوفٍ فَبَايَعٌ. This is the benefit of learning Arabic, and learning the meaning of what I'm reading. It is not cut and paste. It is rather, I have to bring a complete meaning, provide a sentence or an ayah or a part of an ayah, a segment which will provide a complete meaning. So I should have said, وَلَا يَعْصِينَكَ فِي مَعْرُوفٍ فَبَايِعْهُنْ. Or I should have prepared myself earlier to make sure that I would not stop at the word فِي مَعْرُوف. Rather I would say, ولا يعني recite from the beginning of the ayah until I come to ولا يعصينك في معروف فبايعهن, and stop due to running out of breath, because it's a long ayah and there was no stops, permitted stops from the beginning. So in this case, if I don't have flu, I would have tried to recite it all with one breath, but maybe next time inshallah. So I can resume afterward and say فَبَايَعْهُنَّ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُنَّ اللَّهِ. But when you say فِي مَعْرُوفٍ فَبَايَعْهُنَّ, it doesn't provide a complete meaning. Okay? So we have to ponder the Qur'an, reflect on its meaning, and enjoy the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُنَّ اللَّهِ إن الله غفور رحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Nada. Assalamu alaikum, Nada, and welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam.
Recite the last two ayat again.
What?
What are you calling for?
What?
Nada. You're calling to recite, right?
Yes.
Okay, recite the last two ayat of Surat Al-Mummtahinah.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها النبي إذا جاءك المؤمنات يبايعنك على أن لا يشركن بالله شيئا ولا يسرقن ولا يزنين ولا يقتلن أولادهن ولا يأتين ببهتان يفترينه بين أيديهن وأرجلهن ولا يعصينك في معروف فبايعهن واستغفر لهن الله إن الله غفور رحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتولوا قوما غضب الله عليهم قد يئسوا من الآخرة كما يئس الكفار من أصحاب القبور.
Yeah, Nada, where are you from originally?
UK.
UK. And how old are you?
13.
13. Okay. Listen to this advice. Number one, what I have been talking about is those stop signs, those marks that we see, like the la. And the cameraman zoomed at the word and exposed the word la. Don't you stop there. What you did is exactly the opposite. You stop there. You said, وَلَا يَعْصِينَكَ فِي مَعْرُوفٍ, then you resume. That's not right. Second, we have to distinguish the reading of the Qur'an. You're not reading a newspaper or an article in a book or a novel. The Qur'an. Enjoy its recitation, recite it with a melodious voice, and take your time and observe the tajweed rules. This is the purpose of this program. Since we started it 4 years ago or so, we said from the beginning, وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. Recite the Qur'an with a melodious voice. Take your time and recite it beautifully. Okay? لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ لَمْ يَتَغَنَّ بِالْقُرْآنِ. The way that you recited it is possible when you're revising what you've memorized or what you're trying to memorize. Okay? But for the purpose of teaching, in order to pick on errors, if there is any, you should have recited slowly. Jazakum Allah khairan anyway for calling in and trying. But our viewers, pay attention to this. This program is dedicated towards learning how to recite the Qur'an properly. Barakallah fikum. And now we have Smir from Bosnia, and you would recite the same ayat again, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها النبي إذا جاءك المؤمنات يبايعنك على ألا يشركن بالله شيئا ولا يسرقن ولا يزنين ولا يقتلن أولادهن ولا يأتين ببهتان يفترينه بين أيديهن وأرجلهن ولا يعصينك في معروف فبايعهن واستغفر لهن الله إن الله غفور رحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتولوا قوما غضب الله عليهم قد يئسوا من الآخرة كما يئس الكفار من أصحاب القبور.
بارك الله فيك سمير. ما شاء الله. Very good. بارك الله فيك. Khalid, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها النبي إذا جاءك المؤمنات يبايعنك على ألا يشركن بالله شيئا ولا يسرقن ولا يزنين ولا يقتلن أولادهن ولا يأتين ببهتان يفترينه بين أيديهن وأرجلهن ولا يعصينك في معروف فبايعهن واستغفر لهن الله إن الله غفور رحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتولوا قوما غضب الله عليهم قد يئسوا من الآخرة كما يئس الكفار من أصحاب القبور.
Jazakallah khairan. I have two observations and corrections. Inshallah, I will mention them if there is any time. But we have Lulali from Ghana. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, we have 1 minute to explain this. We need to explain the difference between al-hams and al-qalqala. The letters of qalqala are compiled in one phrase, which is qutub jad, qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal, in case any of these 5 letters happen to be sakin, with sukoon, right? So the qalqala will not be applied to the dad at all, whether it's with jazm, sakin, or vowel. The qalqala will not be applied to any of these 5 letters if it does not have sukoon. Qaf with fatha, so what? Dal with kasra, so what? Okay, we'll pronounce it with the proper vowel. Only with the sukoon we'll do the qalqala. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. أَحَدٌ. This qalqala, or shaking the letter, does not apply in the case of al-hams. Al-hams, for instance, يُبَايِعْنَكَ عَلَىٰ أَلَّا يُشْرِكْنَ بِاللَّهِ شَيْئًا. يُشْرِكْنَ. The kaf is one of the letters of al-hams. فَحَثَّهُ شَخْصٌ سَكَتْ. As we studied before. Sakina. فَحَثَّهُ شَخْصٌ سَكَتْ. But it is hams, not qalqala. There is an air passage. Ak. But this is different than aq, the qalqala. Okay? So this is one thing we have to pay attention to. We pronounce the kaf as sakina without moving it, but only with the hams. Same with the ha of bibuhtanin. And the last observation in the letter dad, which is a fa letter anyway, and one of the letters of al-isti'la. So when we say غضب, because it has there a kasra, we should not thin the letter so that it would sound like dal. And we have to distinguish it from the dal. So we shouldn't say غضب, rather it is غضب. Still it's dad, and it maintains its fatness. Brothers and sisters, by that we come to the end of today's edition of Correct Recitation. I ask Allah the Almighty to make us all from amongst Ahlul Qur'an, the people of the Qur'an. الذين هم أهل الله وخاصته, who are the chosen people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma ameen. Allahumma ja'alna min ahli al-Qur'an الذين هم أهلك وخاصتك. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Until next time, I leave you in the care of Allah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Brothers and sisters, to increase your iman, read the miracle, recite the Qur'an. Recite it every day and do read it loud. The verses of Qur'an are all Muslims' pride. This miracle was revealed over a long time span, sent from Allah to an angel, then to a man. That man was Muhammad, the best of creation. We were chosen to be part of his nation. He gave us a message, and that was Islam. So read this miracle, recite the Qur'an.